Hello, Josh. You are up next, sir.
Hey Bart, how's it going?
Pretty good, Josh. Actually, I remember this hand, Josh, and I see one of our coaches, Nate, in the live chat, who definitely is into the weeds and solver land a little bit more than I am. So I will be interested to get his live take on this hand because I believe, if I remember correctly, it's going to involve a four bet pot. Where are you playing out of here?
Yes, it is a four bet pot, and I'm playing at TCH Social in Austin.
Okay, well, a place that I was just at several weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Wish I ran into you.
Yeah, I was there. What was it? Maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Just for a few hours. I went to TCH Social and I went to the lodge when I was there for a weekend. You said this is 2.5?
Yeah, this is 2-5.
So isn't I think they might have changed it, but when I lived in Texas, 2.5 was a massive game. It was the equivalent of 10-20. Because of all the match the stacks, they wouldn't even run 2.5 like a lot. 1-3 would usually be the biggest game. Is this totally uncapped or?
So no, it's actually a 1500 cap, but when I sat down, I thought it was a 2500 cap and it was a new table, and I just brought 2500 in.
Okay.
I mean, other people essentially would bust out. Like, it was very, very action heavy. There were some young guys that were really getting aggressive, and when they would bust out, they would put like two or three like $1,000 chips on the
So are
table.
you not local?
People were going over that cap.
Right. Are you not local?
I am.
You are, but you didn't play this game that much?
I have actually been playing more on the live stream
Oh,
during the week, and that game is uncapped.
okay. That 2.5 game is uncapped. By the way, I helped them set up their live stream. If you look at old TCH highlight clips, like if you go to the TCH live stream, the YouTube channel, and then you look at some of their highest rated videos or just do it like the reverse search from like oldest. Yeah, like the first couple of years, not only I actually edited their highlight videos, but then I also played on there a bunch. By the way, too, if you do play a lot of double board PLO bomb pots, like they play in Texas, you should absolutely check out Poker Geek Odds Pro. And even if you don't play that, Poker Geek Odds Pro is a free poker calculator that will calculate your matchups. I found it because I was looking for a great poker calculator for Omaha High Low before I was playing the 10K this summer. And I discovered it and I was like, wow, this thing is unbelievable. I've never seen an app that actually does double board equities. And then I realized that it does PLO 5 equities, PLO 6 equities, PLO 7 equities, ultimate equities, regular Hold'em equities, regular PLO, and Big O. And I believe the Hold'em and the PLO and the Big O are all free. So this is one of these apps where you can get it, you can download it for free. And if you don't want the other features, you don't have to pay anything. If you do want to check out the app, you can actually just click on the referral for Bart when you first download the app. And it's great. It's got an AI calculator and everything. It's actually one of my favorite poker apps, genuinely. I liked it so much, I reached out to try to find the developer to help him promote it. So check it out. Poker Geek Odds Pro. All right. So how deep are you? Like,
We're over 5,000 deep in this one, and there was always a $10 straddle on. There was like half the time a $20 straddle on.
okay.
This time it wasn't on. I am in the button for this hand, and there's one limp to me, and I have ace five of clubs and bump it up to 50. Gets back around to the straddle, who three bets me to 200,
So,
and
okay.
the limper folds.
So the straddle, 3 bets to 200. The limper folds. Now, what's interesting here is that I would say this is slightly different than if there was no limp. This is why it's really important to pay attention to these subtle things. Because if there was no limp, I would look at the straddle's 3-bet closing the action. Like, say you had just opened. I mean, you are on the button, so it's a little bit different, but say you had just opened. Whenever that last blind 3-bets, it's more of a polarish type of range because they can call with a lot of their in-between hands, not worried about anybody behind them, squeezing them. Now, almost every single hand in Hold'em is better or more easy to play heads up. In this case, though, there is a limp. So if I'm in the straddle, I will have more of a 3-betting frequency in this exact configuration than if there was no limp, because I would want to drive the limper out. of the hand. So that is something to consider. So he could be slightly wider here. So he 3-bets to 200, the limper folds, you're in position and you're on the button. I mean, to me, this is a call for me a lot. I mean, I suppose when I was talking about like ace-5 suited that you could throw in some 4-bet bluffs, but I tend to call this deep a lot here with your hand.
Gotcha. So the vibe of the table was people were getting in their pre-flop and putting in those extra bets and being much more aggressive. So to me, I just wanted to take the initiative and put in an extra bet. I do totally understand. I mean, I have a fine hand to just take it in position and see a flop, but I did decide to 4-bet and I went to 525.
All right, so button 4-bets to 525. Let me ask you this question. I mean, were people folding to 4-bets?
Yeah, there was some folding to 4-bets, but
Mathemagical 55 says we can 4-bet light because people don't 5-bet bluff enough as a bluff in live poker. Yeah, that's true. The hero is in position, which obviously it's much better to play a bloated pot here in position as opposed to out of position. I just will sometimes, maybe it's a stylistic thing, I will do a lot of calling here in position. I mean, it is a 4-bet bluff. You have playability, obviously. So you make it 525, okay.
And he does call. And by the way, I mean, I rarely see a 5-bet unless it's just like aces or kings or like maybe ace king suited.
Hard to, I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, a lot of times there is no 5-bet range in live poker because usually you're not that deep to really. I mean, in this spot you actually are, but it's just next to impossible, obviously, to balance, etc., etc. But okay, so you 4-bet to 525. The straddle calls. And it looks like the pot's probably going to be like 1,070 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So the flop is ace, queen, jack, all spades.
Ace of spades, queen of spades, jack of spades. So this is again where, if you're out there, Nate, this is an interesting one because, you know, you're supposed to be doing, I'm going to assume, I'm going to talk this through assuming that the guy's going to check to you, but you're supposed to be obviously c-betting most boards in 4-bet pots. We've talked about this. With the exception of it being unbelievably draw heavy, texture-wise, all but the worst types of boards. Now, what's interesting about this board is that you have top pair, your hand probably needs protection, and you can probably get called by worse. Any spade, if you size correctly, will probably be forced to call you. I don't know how many offsuit hands this guy has here defending to your 4-bet. It's kind of weird. Like, I mean, is he supposed to call with like ace queen offsuit? But the point that I'm trying to make here is that like, you're not going to really see, it's very, very hard to see an unpaired hand here that has like a spade in it. Like say he's got tens with the 10 of spades. Well, that's a paired hand, but are you going to see king queen off with the king of spades? Probably not. Could you see ace king off though? Could you see ace king off though with the king of spades? That might be one. I mean, that might be one. I mean, that might be the one. So
I think that's the only one.
I mean, what's interesting here is that there's reasons to bet for all those reasons, those purposes. And by the way, he could have kings here too, right? I mean, he's not.
Yeah, he could have kings. I thought tens. I thought maybe even nines. And I want to get like the ones that don't have a spade out of there, or like some value from like a queen or a jack.
Well, I mean, you don't care if the ones that don't. I mean, if he's got nines, no spade, or right, or kings, no spade. Well, kings, no spade's a gut shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, kings, no spade's a gut shot, or tens, no spade's a gut shot. I'm just saying that what I find interesting about this board is you want, those are the reasons to bet, but there is something going against you, which is the theory-wise, a lot of times like on the flop, you want to take hands that don't want to bet fold and sometimes check them. That's not necessarily in multi-bet pots, but a lot of times continuation bet theory, which I break all the time and I advocate for breaking, says like the hands that you want to check are the ones that you don't want to bet fold. Whereas in live poker, you can take a robust bet folding with a lot of hands. Anyways, it's just interesting to note that if you do bet here, I don't know if do you want to bet and play a massive pot here if you get if you get raised on the flop, if you do bet.
I honestly wasn't expecting to get
raised that much. Yeah.
So I wasn't really thinking about that. To me, there's one flush out there, and it's the royal. And I don't think, I mean, why would he raise that? So I wasn't even considering getting raised.
Right. I mean, it would be really, really hard here to get raised. I mean, I guess the times that you would get raised here would be if the opponent had a set, right? I mean, that's really the only time, because it's so hard for him to have a flush here unless he's like, really out to lunch and 3-bet defending with a hand like 9-10 of spades, right? King 10 of spades probably should even be a fold too, but that would be a royal anyways, right? You have an ace, so there's only one combo pocket aces. So, if I'm him and I've got like a set of queens here, maybe I want to play a big pot. I don't want to just give you cards, but that might be it. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know. In theory, it's interesting to know what hand would ever be raised here from the out of position perspective to a C bet. Could it be ace king with the king of spades to like get it in with the same hand, free rolling them? Maybe.
I suppose it could, but I also have sets there, so
yeah, maybe. So I assume he checks, right?
He checks, and I bet 275. I really wasn't so sure about the sizing, but to me, I don't want to play like a huge pot with the way that this board came.
So again, you're just saying that you didn't even, and I've talked about this before. You're saying that you didn't really think about what would happen. You didn't really think about getting raised because you thought it would happen so infrequently. And I've actually said just that I think sometimes people concentrate too much when they look at hands like this and they think about, well, what would you need to always know what you're going to do if you're going to get raised? Well, there are just certain situations where the raise frequency is going to be so small. Why bother?
Yeah, I mean,
why bother?
I'll just
right.
Honestly.
So you bet 275. Okay.
I bet 275 and he calls. So now I've got about like 1,600, a little more, going to a turn.
So it's 1620 in the pot, and you guys still have over 4,000, right? Yeah.
So yeah, now that he calls, there's not like too much that I really want to do unless I hit an ace. So the turn's the 8 of hearts.
By the way, Nate in the live chat said there is no raising at all from the 3-betters perspective. None. So there you go. So the turn's the 8 of hearts. So it's ace of spades, queen of spades, jack of spades. And the turn here is the 8 of hearts, which I think against the ranges that we talk about, that really shouldn't come into play. Really shouldn't make any difference unless he's once in a while the 3-bet defending with pocket 8s with the 8 of spades. Something like that. I mean, I think to your sizing, any pair that he has that has a spade in it has to call for the most part. The question is, what pairs does he have defending to your 4-bet? I guess you could make a case. Maybe it could be 8s plus. So just a little, that's one consideration. Okay, 1620 the turn.
So he checks, and at this point, I don't know. I honestly was a little nervous to bet again. I don't know how many of those like one pair hands are gonna call another bet. So I decided to check it through.
Well, what's interesting here, and again, this is another one for sort of solver land, is that I would do more betting here, and not for large sizing. I would do more betting against the general population of live poker players than maybe what theory would say. Because I don't think this spot is so rare when you take a look at a live poker spot that I'm sure the general population, even good players of live poker players, are not ever going to know or find the proper hands to raise on the turn in a 4-bet pot, right, at 500 BBs deep in this configuration, just because the spot just never comes up. So if response is constantly going to be call and not raise, then you could just go like 400 again, right? Just to not let a free card. You could still get called by worse, right?
Hands with a spade.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you could just go 400 again. It almost controls pot size a little bit too. Like we talk about how that's a kind of a thing where the reasons for betting, and then we talked about sometimes how block bet prevents somebody from bluffing. In this spot here, a couple things go on when you bet if you're never going to really get a responsive raise from your opponent. You can get value from worse. We talked about that. You're not allowing like a free card, so it's like an equity protection type of bet. Because even if there are hands here that have equity against you that are just going to fold out, then there's nothing wrong with doing that if those hands aren't going to bluff on the river because you're just giving them a free card. So value, equity protection, and then you kind of control pot size here a little bit because if you bet 400 and the response is only going to be call, if you instead check back, now you open yourself up to unlimited betting from the out of position player. I mean, I know you open yourself up anyways, but I'm just saying in reality, right? Like you go 400 in his.
We assume that they're not going to find the right raises, then
yeah, it just kind of freezes things in position. So that's kind of where I lean towards a little bit here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What did you do?
Yeah, check through.
Oh, you checked behind. Okay, so here are checks behind.
Mm-hmm. And then the river is the Queen of Hearts.
So the river is the Queen of Hearts.
Yep.
Okay.
So now the villain bets out 650.
So straddle bets 650 now. Wow. That is
obviously, I mean, it's a large money value bet, but it's
no, I mean, it's kind of in between. I mean, honestly, like I'm looking at all three options and in my mind for you, all three options are kind of interesting, right? Because so we already talked about the fact that if the ranges are reasonable here, there's no, like if he's bluffing, it has to be turning something into a bluff, a pair like 10s or 9s with a spade in it, right?
Or
kings with right, kings.
I would think like kings might just want to just get to a showdown.
So those would be the bluffs, right? The bluffs would be the non-ace holdings on the flop that called with one spade in it, which are all pocket pairs. 10s, kings, 9s. You lose to 8s. We talked about that. So those are the bluffs. Are there hands that you get value towned here that might actually fold to a raise if you were to raise? And of course, what jumps out at me here is ace king. Now, I don't know, like if he has ace king here with the king of spades, and I mean, should that be a value bet in this spot? I'm trying to think, does it even matter if he necessarily has a spade?
I honestly didn't even know if like king queen suited for just trips. I didn't know if that was going to bet.
King queen suited for trips?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I would think that would want to bet. That would want to, the only time that you'd get, and you only ever get concerned with king queen here is if you are somehow checking back sets on the turn. That's another thing here too, where I don't know if actually raising here is necessarily going to be credible to try to get somebody off of like ace king or, for example, king queen, because would you ever check back a set like of aces on the turn? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right?
I don't think personally I would. I think it could be pretty cool, but just with like the monotone board on the flop, I don't think I ever would.
Right. So if you decide to all of a sudden raise now as a bluff, I don't know if somebody who can hand read would be like, what is that? Like if he's actually betting for value with something that's not the nuts, but is better than your hand, are you going to get the fold? And again, what are those hands that he could be betting with that are better than yours where he might think about folding? If he somehow had like 9-10 of spades, ace king, pocket 8s, and pocket jacks are all the same with what you would represent if you raised the river, right?
That's true, but I don't even think I get boats off.
No, I just, yeah. So you chop with ace jack, you chop with ace 10. So I guess, and you're getting, so it's 2,300, 650 for you to call. I mean, I think as we talk through this, I think I probably call just because I don't think we're going to accomplish what we want by raising if our opponent doesn't think that we're checking back the turn with those hands that bowed up here at the end.
Yeah, so I wasn't even thinking about raising at the time, and then we talked about this hand after. I'll give the reveal in a sec, but someone brought up like, "Ooh, like what about raising on the river?"
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. And I thought about it a little bit, and that's kind of part of the reason I called, just because I just thought it was like a really interesting spot. But I also was just, to me, I was on your side that think I'm getting the right odds. There's so little value just because like I block an ace queen. There's not many queen jacks. That would be like suited jacks, queens, eights, aces. Like there's just so few of them. And the table was a little bit more aggressive.
The only thing that gets me is like the hands that need, like want to bluff here at the end. We talked about them. I would think would want to take maybe more larger sizing here.
That's a problem I had looking back.
Yeah. Oh, unless everything for value in theory, quote unquote, is taken for this sizing once it goes check on turn. But that's still not the reality of, live poker. I just kind of feel like if a guy's got like 10s or 9s here and he's going to bluff with them, he's going to bet more than 650. So you call, right?
I did call.
And what did he have?
He had ace king with the king of spades, which I thought was, I thought it was super thin because I even said like I didn't know if like a queen was even betting, but the more I talk about it, that does make sense. But I thought ace king, the king of spades, that was like a super thin bet.
I guess it looks kind of thin, but to be honest with you, he doesn't, again, you check back the turn, so that kind of like removes your sort of boats here quite a bit, but he never really has to worry about you having like pocket aces. And when you take I think it also comes down to like the way that you construct a 4-bet bluff range, if you call it like a 4-bet bluff range, or, people construct 4-betting ranges with a lot of ace X. So if you have like if you look at say like your 4-bet bluff range is almost always going to contain like ace X, and you're 4-betting here, right? If you have a 4-bet bluff range, it's going to contain a lot of ace X in it. So if I have ace king, I can actually get value from that. Like I'm not overly concerned about you like running into trip queens, because that's probably not a part of your 4-bet bluff range. Could you like 4-bet bluff queen 10 suited or something like that? I suppose. But anyways, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it.